Psychology says some children do not lose childhood in one loud moment. It fades quietly while no one is watching, and one day they realize someone has to be the adult in the room. No one else is stepping up, so it becomes them without permission, without guidance, and without time to prepare. This is where growing up too fast really begins, not with strength but with pressure and adaptation. This video explores the psychology of a child who grew up too fast, how early responsibility reshapes the brain, nervous system, and identity, and why what looks like maturity on the outside often hides unmet needs on the inside. Psychology says understanding this is not about blame. It is about compassion and healing. The first shift psychology points to is parentification. This happens when a child is expected to manage emotions, solve problems, or care for others before their brain is developmentally ready. Research shows that when this happens, the child learns to suppress their own needs because expressing them feels unsafe or inconvenient. They become calm, responsible, and reliable, but they also learn that their feelings come last. Your brain adapts by prioritizing control over comfort, which looks like maturity but is actually survival. If this resonates, psychology says you were not born strong. You became strong because there was no other option, and that matters. The second pattern is early independence driven by inconsistent support. Developmental psychology shows that when children cannot rely on stable care, they stop asking for help altogether. Asking once too often led to disappointment, so they handle things alone even when they should not have to. As adults, they appear capable, composed, and self-sufficient. Internally, they struggle to trust support because their brain learned that help is temporary. Your nervous system learned safety equals self-reliance, not connection, which explains why receiving help can feel uncomfortable instead of relieving. The third effect is split maturity, where some emotional skills develop too early while others remain unmet. Psychology explains that rushed emotional development can create adults who are wise, serious, and highly responsible, yet still feel confused, guilty, or emotionally unfulfilled inside. They never had time to learn how to need others safely. They know how to care but not how to be cared for. Research shows this inner mismatch often leads to self-criticism because they assume they should have everything figured out by now, when in reality some needs were simply postponed. The fourth trait psychology highlights is difficulty resting. Many who grew up too fast associate calm with danger. In childhood, quiet moments were often followed by chaos, so the nervous system stays alert. Research on chronic childhood stress shows the brain remains in problem-solving mode, making rest feel undeserved or unsafe. This is why doing nothing can trigger anxiety, guilt, or unease. Your body learned usefulness equals safety, not peace. Psychology says this is not laziness. It is conditioning. The fifth pattern is guilt around attachment. Research shows early responsibility can create the belief that needing care burdens others. These adults minimize their needs, apologize for wanting support, and feel uncomfortable depending on anyone. Even empathy becomes guarded. Growing up too fast sharpens emotional awareness, but it also teaches the cost of caring without protection. They read people quickly, sense mood shifts, and anticipate problems, yet stay emotionally guarded because their brain remembers how expensive closeness once was. If you grew up too fast, psychology does not call you broken. It says your nervous system adapted to pressure before it learned safety. Healing does not mean losing your strength. It means finally allowing softness, learning that rest is not neglect, and understanding that being cared for does not make you weak. It means you are finally safe enough to stop surviving. If this resonates, psychology invites you to reflect gently, not critically. Awareness is the first step toward giving yourself what you were forced to grow without. Did you grow up responsible for more than a child ever should? And are you still carrying that weight?